Welcome to the channel about news from around the world. While you subscribe and like it, we're going to start.
In 2022, many countries, including Japan, loudly announced horrendous sanctions that were supposed to wipe out GDP, reduce Russians' living standards to a minimum and destroy Russia altogether. However, as time passed, it became apparent that the sanctions were not only working badly, but also wrongly. The shops were returning, and the country of the rising sun was quietly making loopholes for its strategic facilities. So what is going on in Japan? Why is it circumventing its own sanctions, and what does May holidays have to do with it? Let's find out. Initially there were several operators on the Sakhalin 1 project, including a US subsidiary of oil and gas giant ExxonMobil. However, after America imposed sanctions and said it would cease operations, the Russian government did not hesitate to put its own player, Sakhalin Morneftgaz Shelf, on the list of operators, thus removing the White House from gas production. The next move was aimed at Japan, which also imposed a long list of sanctions. The Russian president signed a document that took Tokyo by surprise. The Kuril Islands issue has always been salt on the wounds of an eastern country whose inhabitants already regarded the Russians as occupiers of Japanese soil. It can't be said that Russians have any anti-Japanese sentiment. Russia has always been open to dialogue with other countries and tolerant. But the Japanese have been infected with anti-Russian sentiment for a long time, and so the law introduced has not had much of an impact on the country's inhabitants, rather more on international relations. So what happened? Russian diplomats quite delicately decided to hit on the Japanese to show a simple truth. Russia will not wait for anyone and has no illusions about relations with unfriendly countries. So a document on a new holiday appeared on the president's desk. September 3rd was declared Victory Day over militarist Japan and the end of World War I. So how did Japan react? Of course, the Japanese were frightened. No one expected relations with Russia to deteriorate to such an extent, let alone reciprocate. Somehow the G7 countries still think that Russia owes them something. Gas, then a grain deal, then reparations to Poland. And in vain. An active policy against unfriendly countries has been pursued in our country since the beginning of 2014. Apparently Japan's rose-colored glasses shattered only after the exclusion of American partners from the Sakhalin deal. Clearly, they are next, and to lose up to 10% of their gas and oil supplies, and to lose their claim to the Kuril Islands, would be a severe humiliation for the eastern country. After the introduction of the new Russian holiday, Japan reacted with a note of protest to save face. But things have already changed in the economy. Japan has not only increased its purchase of liquefied natural gas, but has also removed almost the entire Russian energy sector from sanctions and allowed Japanese companies to provide all necessary services to develop the Russian energy industry. The country of the rising sun has allowed construction services for Sakhalin 1, Sakhalin 2 and Arctic LNG 2. The unfriendly countries are slowly coming to their senses after a schizophrenic episode a year long. Russia is shattering the monopoly world every day. The collective West just needs to look in the mirror to discover the rules of the old world no longer work. If you want to cooperate and work together with a resource-rich country, work honestly and diplomatically, otherwise you will be left out of the new global economy.
Thank you for watching. If you're interested, subscribe and leave a comment.